body. You'll see a puff of smoke. There you go. That's clearly quite a powerful blast. The individuals wearing that running away, no doubt for hospital treatment. Another person here, again, the pager goes off and they fall to the ground there. You can see.
All right, news out of Lebanon and Israel. Terrorists or allegedly terrorist beepers and cell phones are exploding out of nowhere. It turns out that the Israelis have developed some kind of technology or have set it up where the beepers that are in the hands and the cell phones that are in the hands of terrorists are just blowing up. Right now, it's reported that 8 people have been killed and 1,000 people, I will repeat this, 1,000 people have been injured in Lebanon with suspected terrorist ties. This is off the hook. Listen, we are at the edge of World War III. The stakes are high. Players are not fooling around. The chessboard is set up. So this is just another point in the game where they're just going to do whatever. Right now, as we speak, people's phones, if they think you are a terrorist, they are blowing up your phone and blowing off your legs. This is getting crazy. So let's take a look at a report from overseas, because sometimes we get better news from overseas than we do in the United States. Let's look at what they got to say about this.
An incredible story here, because more than 1,000 people, including members of the terrorist group Hezbollah, as well as fighters and medics, have been seriously injured when pagers that they used to communicate exploded. The Iranian ambassador to Lebanon is also reportedly injured. It's been described as the biggest security breach the group has been subjected to in nearly a year of war with Israel. And the Israeli military are yet to comment. And we're joined now by our Homeland Security editor, Mark White. Mark, it's an incredible story, something out of an episode of Homeland. Bring us up to speed.
Yes, indeed. We can bring you some live images, actually, from southern Beirut, the Lebanese capital, where there are lots of medics there. There have been, over the past hour and a half, 2 hours, many hundreds of injured people being brought to the hospital, many of those, we believe, Hezbollah terrorists. And we can exclusively reveal as well a line from security sources who've told us that many of the injuries suffered by these terrorists were suffered when they received a message on their pager, then picked up the pager to take a look at that message, and the pagers exploded at that point. And that would explain why in a lot of the video that we'll show you in a bit, not quite yet, but a lot of the video that I've seen, there are injuries to hands blown off, injuries to the face as well. So it appears that a message was sent on the paging system, that many of those who answered that paging message, brought the pager up to have a look at the message, were then seriously injured. And indeed, there are reports of deaths as well. And those who didn't answer the message, their pagers exploded while they were still attached to the waist or whatever, so they suffered injuries to their lower extremities. It is, Martin, the most extraordinary story. We can bring you some more video. This is showing the moment of detonation in a couple of these people wearing the pagers still on their lower parts of their body. You'll see a puff of smoke. There you go. That's clearly quite a powerful blast. The individuals wearing that running away, no doubt for hospital treatment. Another person here, again, the pager goes off and they fall to the ground there. You can see the explosion at that fruit market. And then we were talking about the hospital images inside. We're not showing you the worst of the injuries, but you can see the scenes of absolute chaos as person after person is brought through the emergency doors of this, one of the main hospitals in Beirut. They are talking, Martin, of at least 1,000 people wounded in what seems to be the most extraordinary operation. The fingers have got to point towards the Israeli intelligence services, but as you said in your introduction there, no word yet from the Israeli authorities, and I think it's likely that they will maintain that never confirming nor denying approach to these particular issues.
And yet, Mark White, clearly orchestrated, meticulously planned. Hezbollah, of course, using pager technology because it's harder to trace, but they've been replaced clearly by a range of explosive devices in an orchestrated, simultaneous, it seems, series of explosions. It's an incredibly interconnected and detailed heist. And Mark, of course, Hezbollah renowned as being incredibly secretive and fragmented, so the security breach as well as the physical impact, simply extraordinary.
Yeah, you make some really good points there. And on this issue of the just recently, a few months ago, the Hezbollah leader, Hassan Nasrallah, told his fellow terrorists not to use their smartphones for fears that the Israeli military and intelligence services were able to access that, monitor their activities, and effectively to go old school, to get back to pagers. Now, we understand again from a number of security sources, this time being quoted by the Reuters news agency, quoting 3 separate intelligence sources, saying that the pagers that exploded were all new model pagers provided to Hezbollah within the last few months. So go figure. It seems that these pagers at some point were adapted, high explosives put inside these pagers, and then they were put out to market, found their way to Hezbollah, probably through third parties that are closely aligned, if not right in Hezbollah itself. An audacious operation. As I say, the Israelis probably unlikely to confirm that their hand was at play here, but there's no doubt the ramifications potentially could be significant as well when we consider that, again, this is being reported by an Iranian news agency that the Iranian ambassador to Lebanon was one of those injured when his pager detonated. Key question that I would like answered there is, why was the ambassador of Iran carrying a terrorist pager?
That's a big question. And we're just hearing of a line here, Mark White, 3 now confirmed dead by these extraordinary exploding pages, and now there'll be a hugely embarrassing as well as effective and targeted attack for Hezbollah, a major security breach, and of course now we're trying to start their own investigation. Who supplied these? What was their motive? A massive investigation will be going on into what you say, Mark White, is an audacious and extraordinary attack.
Yes, there's no doubt about that. Hezbollah will be looking at their own, knowing that one of their own, or more than one of their own, were involved in the operation to get these pagers disseminated throughout the Hezbollah terrorist network. As I say, if we're talking over 1,000 injured, it's unlikely that those in the surrounding environs would have been injured, so it would have probably been those directly in contact with the pager, i.e. those wearing and viewing any messages received on the pagers themselves. So that's an awful lot of pagers to get into the system, as someone clearly at some point orchestrated, suggested to Hezbollah senior commanders that this was the way to go, that they could get their hands on however many at knockdown prices, and this incredible security breach has then occurred, with Hezbollah clearly going ahead and doing that. But I think to go back to the point with the Iranian ambassador, because clearly this is an Iranian official of senior standing, an ambassador, injured, and we don't know yet how badly injured in this incident. It does escalate the situation, there is no doubt. We were expecting weeks ago a very significant missile attack from both Iran and Hezbollah, following, of course, you'll remember the assassinations that took place inside Iran of senior Hezbollah officials and a Hamas official inside Iran as well, and one that took place in Lebanon too. They have not happened, but people have been very concerned about the potential for that. This just ups the ante again on what is a very, very precarious situation out there in the Middle East.
3 confirmed dead so far, 1,000 injured. And as you say, Mark White, fascinating now to see who has been injured, which will tell us, I guess, how far the tendrils of Hezbollah spread, who is in direct contact. Mark will have much more on that story at the top of the 5 o'clock. Hope you can bring us some more news and fantastic story. Thank you very much, Mark White.